Hello everyone, I am Wendy with Winds of Change Ministries, and we're still celebrating the Feast of Unleavened Bread. And so I'm going to be discussing some of the teachings of the Old Testament and talking about some of the leaven that has affected our understanding of the teachings, okay? So in the Ten Commandments. So anyway, let's go ahead and go into the scriptures that we're going to talk about today and the commandments that we will talk about today. And that is, to keep the Sabbath, holy, okay? Now, first of all, a lot of people don't even know what the Sabbath is. One day I went up to to a Lutheran preacher and I asked him if he knew what the Sabbath was, and he said he knew where I was getting at because I'm a little bit different, and he knew he was going to have his hands full talking to me. So he said, "Oh well, I treat every day as the Sabbath." That's what he said, and I knew immediately that this guy, he clearly does not understand how to keep the Sabbath, because if he did, he would realize there's no way you could keep it every day. Okay, no way. So the commandment is to keep the Sabbath. First, let's talk about when is the Sabbath. The Sabbath originated because God used 6 days to create the earth, the heavens and the earth, and then on the seventh day he set it aside, and he said we're going to have this as a day of rest. And so that is the origins of the day of Sabbath, okay? And so the seventh day. Now some people consider a day from midnight to midnight, okay? That's what modern culture celebrates. But actually, the Jews, the Hebrew culture, celebrates the beginning of a day is after sunset, and the end of the day is at sunset. So during the twilight hours, that in between where the sun has already gone down and it hasn't quite gotten dark yet, okay? That is the changing from one day to the other. All right, which makes sense because, when God created the earth, the heavens and the earth, and he said, let there be light. First, there was darkness. Okay? That first day began in darkness, and then there was light. And so every new day should begin in darkness. All right? So let's talk about keeping the Sabbath a little bit more. So it starts on Friday evening to Saturday evening. That's the Sabbath, first and foremost. And I know that a lot of people are going to disagree with me on that, but teach their own. And but how do you keep it? Well, remember, it's supposed to be a day of rest. And so we're not supposed to do any work on that day. And so that includes not buying or selling, not even cooking. In fact, when the Israelites, the children of Israel, were wandering through the wilderness, they were told that they're supposed to prepare food for 2 days to cover the Sabbath. Now, to some people, that seems like a punishment. Well, why is God telling me to do this? Why? Right? It goes back to that lording over. It triggers us. I don't want no one to tell me what to do. But, that's just our rebellious nature, okay? And, but actually, it's a blessing. Because those children of Israel, when they came out of Egypt, they were working non-stop, all right? And so to have a day of rest Well, that was wonderful. So God recognized that he didn't just, it wasn't just for nothing. I mean, it was a gift to us to have that day of rest. And, the body requires rest to heal itself. So, as far in today's society, cooking is pretty easy because, we have stoves, we have microwaves, we have different things, contraptions, pressure cookers, crock pots, whatever, to help us cook. And so it's not really work, is it? But back in the day, back when they had to go and wander around looking for twigs and stuff to build a little fire, well, then it was a lot of work to cook. And so that's one of the reasons why he started to train people to not cook on that day. You're not supposed to cook. You're not supposed to buy and sell. Now, in today's society, we just hop in our car, we drive to the store, everything's refrigerated, nice cool area. But back in the day, they didn't have cars and they didn't have refrigeration. And, things were just a lot more, it was just different. It was a lot more work. And so by saying, don't do those things, God was saving us a lot of work so that we could rest our bodies and heal. So that sounds like a good thing to me. Sounds like something I wouldn't mind. It's like, what do you want to do? Work 24/7 or have a day of rest and honor God's commandment? I think I'll have my day of rest, please and thank you. All right. So that's just a change of thinking that we need to have as a society, because God is not against us, he is for us. All right, we just didn't see it before, we didn't understand it before, because we in modern society, we live a pretty pampered life. All right, so the word Sabbath actually has two meanings. It is seventh, which is why we celebrate the day of Sabbath on the seventh day, but it also means oath, because it was an oath that God made. He sanctified that day. And throughout the Bible, he's got things linked to that oath, all right? I'm not going to go into those deeper esoteric teachings, because today we're focusing on the unleavened. We're just going to the basics of it, okay? But there are actually deeper meanings linked to these teachings. The next commandment is to honor your father and mother. And even though that sounds wonderful in today's society, that's a hard pill to swallow for a lot of people. They were raised in the broken home. A lot of them, their dad was a drug dealer or went to prison, or whatever, right? And there's a lot of broken homes for whatever reason. And used to be, people their word was their bond, right? And today we've just lost a lot of honor. A person's word means nothing to, in a lot of situations. People say something, they don't follow through. And a lot of marriages have suffered because of this. So think of that. If we could keep the oath of the Sabbath, we could give our bodies the adequate rest and relaxation that it needs, so that we could have family time, right? So that we could have bonding time with our spouse. If we would just keep that oath, well, maybe our relationships and our families wouldn't be such a mess. Maybe it wouldn't be so hard to honor our father and mother. And so, as you can see, there is a ripple effect to everything, as the leaven of man-made doctrines, have corrupted God's true intentions with the commandments, when he intended to bless us. And yet, And yet, we have a problem with following His commandments because of our own rebellious nature. All right, so that's all I'm going to talk about today. I hope you enjoyed the message. It's pretty windy out here. I don't know if you can see that. The trees are too far in the background. It's pretty windy. And it's my hope that the winds of change blow across the United States and the world, and that we could help fix our broken society and culture. I am Wendy, and we're all living in the winds of change.